All right, good. I think we've got everything organized. Welcome. This is Tech for Senior. This is the 25th of November. Everyone will be heading out this week for a big holiday on Thursday. So, Tech for Senior Live will be taking a holiday as well. So, we won't be having a show this Thursday. So, please don't come over to the um, don't book that in for Thursday morning. Everyone will hopefully be with their families, having a great holiday. Want to thank everyone for coming today. We do appreciate your spending an hour with us or a little more. So we have a big show for you today. Lots of fun things to talk about. Um, we, of course, as you know, have a newsletter. We want to. We had some tough questions this on our quiz this week. I even got caught and made some mistakes, and Chris Gould had to correct me and get me on track. So hopefully everybody got the questions and the answers. And we want to thank, of course, our sponsors for the newsletter. That's, of course, Geeks on Tour. Thank you so much. We have the Central Florida Computer Society, and of course the just let me think. Why do I always have a pause, a mental
Dora,
block? The
Glendora.
Glendora Seniors Computer Club in California. So thank you so much, everyone, for sponsoring our newsletter. We will have, as I said about our Thursday show, we'll have no Thursday show today. We do have for the uh, premiere video, we'll be playing at half past the hour. Bill James going to talk on Windows 11 tips. I'm going to talk on the difference between purchasing an EV and the difference between a plug-in hybrid and hybrid. And then Huey's going to talk on sending large files, big files, by email. Didn't know you're talking about that, did you, Huey?
Yeah, I did.
Oh, did you?
I read the newsletter. I read the newsletter.
Oh, did you? Good for you. Excellent. All right. So anyway, that's the news I have today. How are you doing? Speaking of Huey, how are you doing, Huey?
I'm doing great.
And you had, of course, your last Friday, you had your AI, right? Your
Let's
AI.
talk AI. Yep.
Yeah. And
Uh,
that worked out okay.
this this week's kind of quiet, but then next week it all breaks loose again. So
All right. And Bob, you've got a new computer coming.
Yes, mini,
A mini.
a
Yes.
mini.
Everyone's buying minis.
Yep. The
Yeah.
price was right, and boy, was it loaded.
Okay.
I can't
I,
afford the big one when it has that many features. We'll see.
um, does it come with a driver's seat or a seat belt? So if you're going that fast, you can stay in the chair.
I guess we'll find out after I have it hooked up whether or not I talk any faster or it slows me down.
Yeah. All right. And Ray, you got your ears on.
Yeah, I decided to look a little bit more professional today.
Well, you look
Trying
very
trying to keep
techy.
up with you, Ron.
You look very techy.
It goes with the background.
It goes. All right. And then, of course, Chris and Jim Gould are here. Between cruises, they're off on so many cruises, we can't keep track of you anymore. So, welcome. And it's nice to see you here.
And we're working on our Fun with Photos segment for next week.
You will be happy with that. Excellent. So thanks so much, and thank you for your help with the quiz. Because I'm sorry I did it late at night, and I thought, oh, how did I make that mistake? And thank you so much for that. That was great.
Yeah, I was
All
saying I
right.
don't see a right answer here.
Yeah, no, no, no. I saw the mistake as soon as you mentioned it, but that's what you happen when you're doing it at 11 o'clock at night and you're tired, right? So, all right, let's get on with the show. Bob, do you want to take it away?
Here is my tech talk for the week ending November 22nd, 2024. This week, I'll be covering two topics. The first, unlocking the future, and the second one will be robotic process automation. Let's get started. How AI is transforming our daily lives today. In today's rapidly evolving world, artificial intelligence is no longer a concept of the future. It's a present reality reshaping our daily experiences. From the way we communicate to how we shop, AI influence is pervasive and growing. Let's explore some of the most exciting and accessible AI-driven innovations making waves today. Number 1. Personalized shopping experiences. Ever noticed how online stores seem to know exactly what you're looking for? AI algorithms analyze your browsing history and preferences to recommend products tailored just for you. This not only enhances your shopping experience, but also introduces you to items you might not have discovered otherwise. Number 2. Smart home assistants. Devices like Amazon's Alexa and Google Home have become household staples. These AI-powered assistants can control your smart home devices, set reminders, play your favorite tunes, and even answer trivia questions. They're designed to make daily tasks more convenient and hands-free. Number 3. Enhanced healthcare services. AI is revolutionizing healthcare by enabling more accurate diagnosis and personalized treatment plans. For instance, AI-driven apps can monitor your health metrics and provide real-time feedback, helping you stay on top of your well-being. Number 4. Efficient customer service. Chatbots and viral assistants are now common on websites, providing instant responses to your queries. These AI tools ensure you get the information you need without waiting, enhancing customer satisfaction and streamlining support services. Number 5. Improved navigation and travel. AI powers navigation apps that provide real-time traffic updates, suggest alternative routes, and even predict travel times. This technology helps you reach your destination faster and with less hassle. Number 6. Personalized entertainment. Streaming services like Netflix and Spotify use AI to recommend shows, movies, and music based on your viewing and listening habits. This personalization ensures you're always entertained with content that suits your tastes. Number 7. Advanced language translation. AI-driven translation apps have made it easier to communicate across language barriers, whether you're traveling abroad or interacting with someone who speaks a different language. These tools provide real-time translations to facilitate understanding. Number 8. Financial management. AI is also making its mark in finance, with apps that analyze your spending habits, suggest budgeting strategies, and even detect fraudulent activities. These tools empower you to manage your finances more effectively. Embracing the AI revolution. While AI integration in our lives raises important discussions about privacy and ethics, its benefits are undeniable. By automating routine tasks and providing personalized experiences, AI allows us to focus on what truly matters. Stay safe, stay secure, and remember that as technology continues to advance, staying informed and adaptable will help us harness AI's full potential to enhance our daily lives. Video number 2, Robotic Process Automation. Robotic Process Automation, RPA. This technology is expected to continue its growth, automating repetitive tasks and improving efficiency. Imagine a world where mindless, repetitive tasks vanish, where hours spent clicking and copying are slashed to minutes. A world where the boring stuff gets done by robots. No, not the kind with arms and legs, but silent, invisible digital workhorses, humming away in the background. That world, it's already here. It's called Robotic Process Automation, or RPA, and it's transforming businesses faster than you can say copy-paste. Now you may be wondering, why should I care about robots doing paperwork? Simple. If you've ever wished for an extra hour in a day, RPA is a glimpse into your future. RPA doesn't just save time, it's the ultimate efficiency booster. Imagine companies shifting from manual grunt work to focusing on innovation, creativity, and strategy, all thanks to a few lines of code that never tire or complain. Stay tuned, because RPA might be about to revolutionize the way you think about work. So what exactly is RPA? Think of it as a team of invisible helpers that handle all the mundane tasks we'd rather avoid, from entering data, sending emails, to updating spreadsheets. RPA bots are like the ultimate interns, minus the coffee breaks and office gossip. They sit quietly in the digital trenches, taking over those mind-numbing routine jobs and giving humans the freedom to tackle work that actually requires, well, a human. And it's not just office work. RPA is now woven into industries across the board. Banks use it to verify transactions faster. Healthcare systems rely on it to manage patient records without errors. Even airlines use RPA to reschedule flights and update customer information. These bots are everywhere, quietly handling tasks we used to think were too human to automate. Here's the kicker. RPA doesn't need fancy new systems or huge IT overhauls. It works right within existing software, like a ninja blending in, ready to take action. Need a bot to log into an old system and check a few hundred account statuses? No problem. RPA simply does it faster than you could ever dream. Now let's dive into the big question. Why is RPA growing so fast? Well, besides slashing cost and boosting productivity, there's one very enticing factor: accuracy. We're talking about robots here. They don't make typos, they don't forget, and they definitely don't zone out halfway through the day. For companies, that means fewer mistakes, happier clients, and a lot less time fixing human slip-ups. It's efficiency on steroids. And here's a twist: as RPA grows, the workforce doesn't shrink. Instead, jobs are evolving. Routine tasks are becoming the bot's domain, while humans are free to focus on complex problem solving and innovation. Companies that adopt RPA often find their employees less bogged down and more engaged. It's not about replacing people, it's about letting people do their best work. So where is RPA headed next? We're talking intelligent bots with AI smarts that can analyze, interpret, and even predict. Imagine bots that don't just enter data, but also understand it. Bots that learn patterns and suggest solutions. This evolution means that RPA is set to not only handle repetitive work, but also tackle decision-making and data analysis, all without a single coffee break. Robotic Process Automation isn't just a tool. It's the silent, reliable partner that lets us focus on big-picture goals. It's the start of a new era of productivity, creativity, and innovation without the monotony. Stay safe, stay secure, and remember that as more businesses dive in, RPA is gearing up to change the world of work, one bot at a time. You'll find the videos used in today's Tech Talk at the links listed. Did you know oxymoron refers to a group of self-contradicting words, such as icy hot and seriously funny. The word oxymoron is itself an oxymoron, drawn from ancient Greek oxy means sharp and moron means stupid. While you're logged into your Facebook account, the social media company tracks and records nearly everything you do on the web. The state of Texas is larger than any country in Europe. Just thought you might like to know. The secret to happiness, of course, is not getting what you want. It's wanting what you get, thanks to Alex Trebek. All of us invent ourselves. Some of us just have more imagination than others, thanks to Cheryl Shear Sarkeesian. And that's a wrap for this week's Tech Talk and Beyond. Stay safe, stay secure, and I'll see you again next week. Bye-bye, and thanks for reading, watching, and listening.
Thanks, Bob. We need an RPA to do the introductions because I make mistakes and RPAs wouldn't, and I forgot to introduce Bill James. So I don't know if Bill's listening, but sorry that I missed you. It's just you came in a bit late, so you're down lower on my screen. So I missed introducing you, but of course I just wanted to make sure that we introduced you. All right, let's get on with it. I've got a little video for you here. Let's see if I can find it. Yes, here we go. It's Ron Brown with Tech for Senior. Hewie and I and all the staff at Tech for Senior would like to wish you a happy holiday. You probably will be traveling to visit your loved ones and spend enjoyable time. There's going to be record numbers of cars on the road, and it's going to be a busy week. So we've prepared a little video on how you can use technology to stay safe while traveling. Hopefully you enjoy this and have a great holiday, and thank you so much for all the support you've given Tech for Senior this year. The holidays are here. Time to pack your bags, grab your passport, and head out for some well-deserved adventure. But before you swap your everyday hustle for exotic locales and festive markets, let's talk safety. These days, staying safe goes beyond just common sense. It means tapping into the power of technology. Think of your smartphone as your own personal travel guardian angel. It's packed with tools and apps that can help you navigate unfamiliar cities, stay connected with loved ones, and handle emergencies like a pro. We're not just talking about snapping the perfect selfie for Instagram here. We're talking about using technology to make smart, informed decisions that keep you safe throughout your journey. This isn't about letting technology rule your trip. It's about using it strategically to enhance your experience and give you peace of mind. So whether you're a seasoned globetrotter or a first-time flyer, get ready to discover how to travel smarter, safer, and with a little help from your trusty tech companions. Planning your trip has never been easier. With a plethora of travel apps available, you can book flights, reserve accommodations, and even plan your itinerary, all from the comfort of your home. Apps like Skyscanner and Booking.com allow you to compare prices and find the best deals, ensuring you get the most value for your money. And don't forget about currency converter apps, which can help you manage your budget and avoid any financial surprises. Language barriers? Not a problem. Translation apps like Google Translate can help you communicate with locals, making your travel experience smoother and more enjoyable. Staying informed about health and safety guidelines is crucial, especially in today's world. Apps like CDC's Travel Health can provide you with up-to-date information on vaccinations, health advisories, and more. Weather apps are another essential tool. Knowing the weather forecast can help you pack appropriately and plan your activities, ensuring you're prepared for any situation. Safety apps like Life360 allow you to share your location with family and friends, giving them peace of mind and ensuring you have a safety net in case of emergencies. And let's not forget about travel insurance apps. These can help you quickly file claims and access important policy information, providing an extra layer of security during your travels. Navigation apps like Google Maps and City Mapper can help you find your way around new cities, whether you're walking, driving, or using public transportation. And when it comes to dining, apps like Yelp and Uber Eats can help you discover local cuisine and have it delivered right to your doorstep. Staying fit and relaxed during your travels is also important. Fitness apps can help you find local gyms, while meditation apps can provide a moment of calm amidst the excitement. Finally, don't forget to document your journey. Travel journal apps allow you to capture memories and share your experiences with friends and family. So, as you embark on your holiday travels, remember to embrace technology. It can enhance your experience, keep you safe, and ensure you make the most of your adventure. Happy travels, and may your journey be filled with joy, safety, and unforgettable moments. Before you even think about packing that extra pair of shoes, let's get your tech game in check. In today's digital age, your smartphone and laptop are just as essential as your passport and tickets. They are your lifeline, your guide, and your connection to the world. So let's make sure they're ready for the adventure ahead. Think of this as your digital safety net, ensuring a smoother, more secure travel experience. Your devices can help you navigate unfamiliar streets, translate foreign languages, and keep in touch with loved ones, but only if they're properly prepared. First up, download offline maps of your destination. Trust me, there's nothing worse than being lost in translation with a dead phone battery. Offline maps are a lifesaver when you can't get a signal or Wi-Fi. They allow you to navigate the city, find your hotel, and explore local attractions without worrying about data charges or connectivity issues. Google Maps and Maps.me are your new best friends. These apps offer detailed maps, directions, and even public transportation routes. Plus, they work offline, so you can use them anywhere, anytime. Just make sure to download the maps before you leave home. Next, notify your bank and credit card companies about your travel plans. This prevents any surprise card declines when you're trying to pay for that delicious street food. Banks often flag foreign transactions as suspicious, which can lead to your card being blocked. A quick call or online notification can save you from this hassle. And speaking of money, download a currency converter app like XE Currency. No more mental math gymnastics while browsing those souvenir stalls. These apps provide real-time exchange rates, helping you understand the true cost of items in your home currency. This way, you can budget better and avoid overspending. Now, let's talk about staying connected. International roaming charges can be a real buzzkill. They can quickly add up, leaving you with a hefty bill at the end of your trip. But don't worry, there are ways to stay connected without breaking the bank. Consider getting a local SIM card at your destination or using a portable Wi-Fi hotspot. Local SIM cards are often cheaper and offer better data plans than international roaming. Portable Wi-Fi hotspots, on the other hand, allow you to connect multiple devices to the internet, making them perfect for group travel. And for those essential conversations back home, download a messaging app like WhatsApp or Signal. They use end-to-end encryption, keeping your conversations private and secure. These apps also allow you to make voice and video calls over the internet, saving you from expensive international call charges. Lastly, let's talk about digital security. Use a password manager to keep track of your passwords and enable two-factor authentication on your accounts. This adds an extra layer of security, protecting your personal information from hackers. Remember, a secure journey is a happy journey. Also, consider using a VPN when connecting to public Wi-Fi networks. Public Wi-Fi can be a hotspot for cyber criminals looking to steal your data. A VPN encrypts your internet connection, keeping your information safe and secure. With these tips, you're ready to embark on a secure and enjoyable journey. Safe travels. All right, you've landed. You're excited, but hold your horses before you wander off into the unknown. Remember those offline maps you downloaded? Now's the time to put them to use. Familiarize yourself with your surroundings, mark your hotel on the map, and pinpoint those must-visit attractions. Enable location services on your phone, but be mindful of which apps have access to your location. Share your real-time location with a trusted friend or family member back home. It's like having a digital travel buddy keeping tabs on your whereabouts. If you're using ride-hailing services like Uber or Lyft, always double-check the license plate and driver's information before hopping in. And when exploring new areas, be aware of your surroundings. Don't be that person with their face buried in their phone, oblivious to the world around them. Stay alert, stay aware, and enjoy the journey. Section 4. Staying connected securely. Communication tips for travelers. Let's face it, staying connected is non-negotiable these days, especially when you're on the road. Whether you're traveling for business or leisure, staying in touch with family, friends, and colleagues is essential. But how do you ensure that your communication is both effective and secure? But before you connect to that free airport Wi-Fi, remember that not all networks are created equal. Free Wi-Fi networks, while convenient, can be a hotbed for cyber threats. It's crucial to understand the risks involved and take necessary precautions. Public Wi-Fi can be a breeding ground for hackers and scammers. These malicious actors often set up fake Wi-Fi hotspots to lure unsuspecting users. Once connected, they can easily intercept your data, including personal information, passwords, and even financial details. Avoid accessing sensitive information like bank accounts or credit card details while using public Wi-Fi. If you must check your bank account or make an online purchase, use your mobile data instead. It's a safer option compared to public Wi-Fi. When it comes to communicating with loved ones back home, stick to encrypted messaging apps. These apps use end-to-end encryption, ensuring that only you and the person you're communicating with can read the messages. WhatsApp, Signal, and Telegram are all great options. They offer robust security features and are widely used around the world. Make sure to enable two-factor authentication on these apps for an added layer of security. These apps keep your conversations private and secure, even if your device is lost or stolen. Always lock your phone with a strong password or biometric authentication to prevent unauthorized access. Consider setting up a VPN or virtual private network on your devices. A VPN creates a secure tunnel for your internet traffic, making it difficult for anyone to intercept or tamper with your data. A VPN encrypts your internet traffic, adding an extra layer of security, especially when using public Wi-Fi. It's like having a personal bodyguard for your online activities. It's like giving your online activity a secret handshake that only you and the VPN server know. This ensures that your data remains confidential and protected from prying eyes. Additionally, a VPN can help you access content that might be restricted in certain regions. This is particularly useful for travelers who want to stay updated with news or access streaming services from their home country. In summary, staying connected while traveling is crucial, but it's equally important to prioritize your online security. Use encrypted messaging apps, avoid accessing sensitive information on public Wi-Fi, and consider using a VPN to protect your data. By following these tips, you can enjoy your travels without compromising your digital security. Stay connected, stay secure, and make the most of your journey. Section 5. Health and Safety Apps. Essential tools for a worry-free trip. Nobody wants to think about getting sick or injured while traveling, but it's always better to be prepared. Before you depart, download a first aid app like Red Cross First Aid or Pocket Doctor. These apps provide step-by-step instructions for handling common medical emergencies. If you have any pre-existing medical conditions, create a digital medical ID on your phone. This can be a lifesaver in case of emergencies, allowing first responders to access your vital medical information quickly. Research local emergency numbers at your destination. Save them in your phone and write them down somewhere accessible. It's also a good idea to familiarize yourself with the location of hospitals or clinics near your accommodation. All right. Excellent. All right. So hopefully if you're taking off and doing some traveling, that might be helpful for you. Hewie, I hear you have something for us today.
I sure do. Freespoke, the unbiased search engine. Freespoke is a digital platform launched in 2022. It functions as a search engine and news aggregator. Freespoke aims to provide unbiased, uncensored, and private access to information. I'm Hewie Poplock. Privacy focus, anonymous searches, no data tracking, user protection, unbiased information. You'll see 3 indicators in a lot of the news articles. If it says left with a left arrow, it indicates left-leaning political bias in news articles. If you see the scale, it's in the middle. It represents balanced or neutral political stance in the content. And if it's got a right arrow, it signifies the right-leaning political bias is in the news story. Content accessibility, no suppression, wide range, open debate, kid-safe environment, secure online space, there's no adult content, and it's tracker-free. Support for local businesses. It features American-made products, small business focus, and an economic impact. The founder's vision, Todd Ricketts is the co-founder of Freespoke and the co-owner of Chicago Cubs. It is available on iOS, Android, and on the web. There's under the user experience, there's an intuitive search, a transparent news, and privacy controls. It's challenging tech giants. It's an alternative to Google, privacy-first approach, and diverse perspectives. The impact on information access, there's uncensored content, there's informed decision-making, and transparency in media. Let's take a look at Freespoke. When you go to freespoke.com, this is what you're going to see. There's news, shop, and elections. You can sign up. You can add Freespoke to Chrome. That's because I'm on Chrome. You can get premium, and there's a dark mode if you so desire. And of course, you would just fill in what you're searching for. To create an account, you just click on Login, and then you'll fill in your first name, your last name, your email address, and then give it a password, or it will suggest one for you, and you create the account. Then sign in with your account. Let's do a search. We'll click in there. It will give us some popular searches, but we're going to type in Hurricane Milton, and we're going to see what the results are. We'll see that some of the articles are middle of the road, some are left-leaning, some are right-leaning, so you can read the articles as you wish. You might want to get different views of the same information. Then there is a timeline by date to show you some of the things that were going on. And then on the right are some of the storm statistics and some information about the storm. And then as we scroll up, there's going to be some other results and some non-mainstream coverage. We were looking at all of the news and information. Let's see what else we have. We have images. So there's images of the storm. Then we have the news. And again, it'll show left and middle and right. And then we'll find some videos on the storm. And you can take a look at those. And then finally, there's shopping. And believe it or not, people have already come out with t-shirts for the storm. In addition to news, we can look at shopping. And you'll see that there's a lot of different topics and items and categories. And there's a list of the different categories that you can search on for shopping. One of the topics that's there is elections, and you can scroll down and you'll find articles that are from the media, from the left, from the right, and from the middle. You can decide which articles you want to read and go from there. Let's go to the hamburger menu at the top right, and you'll see we can do a search with election, trending news, and about Freespoke. But what about more resources? They have a newsletter which you can sign up for by clicking on Get the Newsletter. And let's go to documentation. How many of the search engines are you familiar with have actually documentation that's easy to find? Freespoke does. And let's take a look at what we can look at, including their warrant canary, which is committed to protecting your information, and they will tell you when they get requests from government to get information. You can also customize your results, and here are some things you can do. You can have filters on the news articles and the account, and some favorite sites and so on, so you can customize it to your desires. There are some privacy tools that you can add. There's Ad Blocker Ultimate or a uBlock Origin, both ad blockers. And there's also a free Proton Mail that you can add on to this search engine. The pricing is quite simple. There's a free account and a premium account. And the premium account is $30 per year. And there's only 2 items that the free account doesn't have that the premium does, and that's the ad block from Freespoke, the priority search filtering. The premium is not needed for most people. Freespoke, the unbiased search engine. I'm Hewie Poplock. Something more to try.
Yeah, Huey. So, can you put search parameters in there for like searching news? Like if you want tech news, could you have it set up in there so it would sort of bring
Yeah,
up the
it's a search engine. Anything you would put in Google, you could put in
put in there?
Freespoke.
Oh, cool. All right. What do you think? Worth trying?
It's definitely worth trying.
Okay. Good. All
Especially
right.
especially if you're getting answers about news, and you're looking at it's a news aggregator as well.
Right.
So sometimes, if you only look at one side, you only have to read those that say whatever side you want.
Okay. All right. Good. All right. Let's see. I've got another one for you here. Just a minute. Well, hello and welcome back to the channel. Today I'm going to talk about a topic that has caused a lot of people grief, and I want to make a video about it so I don't have to keep explaining this whole issue of texting and what RCS is. So we're going to go through that today. There are some very key points that I think will really help you. There's a couple of stumbling blocks that everybody makes, so I want to clarify that. I want to discuss what RCS or Rich Communication Services is, how you get it, how you set it up, and why that is so important for texting. And we're going to talk about that today. So thanks so much for coming, and hopefully this will be helpful. I'm Ron Brown with Tech for Senior, where we help seniors understand technology and help them with communication. I want to thank everyone for coming, and we sure appreciate that like and subscribe. I want to thank all those people that have donated over the last year to our coffee fund. It certainly helps our nonprofit group keep going. All right, when discussing texting, I always find it easier to go back to the very beginning, when cell phones first were released to the public in 1983. Let's go way back. Now, if you're a senior, you'll remember this. If you aren't a senior, well, you'll learn something. So if you go back to 1983, when cell phones were first released, as in this diagram you're seeing here, I put an old Nokia phone there, and you'll see that we have, of course, voice communication now, and we talk to a cell tower. This, of course, is done through a phone number. So yes, we did have cell phones, but this is 10 years before the internet. We didn't have email. We didn't have websites. There was no internet or anything like that when cell phones first came out. It was simply you picked the phone up and you didn't have it plugged into a landline and you were able to make a phone call. This was wireless technology and quite different than it is today. Now, the other thing that was very different about this was phone calls were expensive. In other words, you got paid, you got charged per phone call. No plans. We didn't have cell phone plans then. They just charge you the number of phone calls you made, multiplied it by how many you did in a month, and sent you a bill. So it was expensive. Now, over time, cell phone plans did exist, but that's later on. So in the early days, cell phones weren't as popular as the companies wanted them to be because of cost. So they came up with a unique idea that they would bring in a thing called texting. And of course was developed by the phone companies. Yes, the phone companies, the wireless company developed this concept called texting, where you could actually text somebody a message, an SMS text that you could text through the telephone line, through your communication line, your phone number, and text someone a short message. And that's why they came up with SMS. Now, this was a great deal for the phone companies because, well, it was much cheaper than making a voice call. Well, it was much cheaper to the customers than making a voice call. They still charged for it. And the amount of bandwidth used up in the texting was so small, it was a good deal for the phone company. So they came up with the idea of texting, which really increased the number of people using this new communication type of machine, the cell phone. All right, so the key takeaway point I want you to remember is the fact that there was no internet. We had no WhatsApp or any text messaging. There was no email, no nothing. But the texting was done over your existing voice line. So you remember that. This is an important point. So now we move on. And of course, 10 years later in 1993, the internet was created, released to the public. And of course, the rest is history. And then, of course, we developed social media, email, websites, and things all changed, which, of course, we have now. But it wasn't until 2007 when a big event occurred that would change the way the world was today. And the announcement, of course, was in 2007 when Steve Jobs introduced the iPhone. The iPhone was a new concept, crazy concept. Steve Jobs said, we're going to make this a smartphone and we're going to connect it to the internet. And we're going to charge you, this is going to be an expensive phone, and we're going to charge you $1,000 for this. I thought the man was crazy. Who would spend $1,000 on a phone just to connect it to the internet? Well, boy, was I wrong, eh? So for sure. So the iPhone was quite a bit different type of cell phone. And it changed how cell phones were made and how they were used. So what were the differences in the iPhone? Well, the first thing Steve Jobs said is this phone is going to be able to be connected to Wi-Fi. Now, by this time, we had routers and Wi-Fi and all sorts of stuff like that. So he had a radio receiver and transmitter in there that would connect to Wi-Fi, as you'll see in the diagram here, connect to Wi-Fi either as a public or private Wi-Fi connection. So this was great. That, of course, if you're not connected to Wi-Fi and you're out driving around and you don't have Wi-Fi, he wanted this also to be connected through something new, something the phone cell companies had to create, and this was a data stream. And this was a data stream that was unlike your voice communication. This was a digital data stream that would send data to and from the internet. So this, as you'll see on the diagram here, this is a different stream from voice communication, and this is what we now know as our data plan. And it had never been done before, and this was, of course, created, and this is a separate link to your cell phone. And the third thing he said is we're going to have our own messaging service, iMessages. But of course, that wasn't SMS. This is a different link that the cell phone companies had to create, and this was a link for iMessages. So the iPhone could communicate with other iPhones through iMessages. So we now had a new smartphone being developed. We were going to be able to connect through Wi-Fi. We're going to be connect through a data plan, and we're going to be able to send text messages through iMessage to other Apple devices. And that was what really changed the world and started the smartphone revolution that we have. So this is a key takeaway point that you need to understand. So after this technology was developed, and of course many other companies started making smartphones, we developed another product in the cloud called text messaging. And this is in the cloud. This is the ability to send messages within an app. And this is WhatsApp is an example of this. Facebook Messenger is an example. Google Messages. There's over 200 different messaging apps that are available in the world today. And it depends what part of the world and what country you're in of which one is going to work. But the concept here, let's take WhatsApp, is that my friend I want to send a message to WhatsApp would have the WhatsApp app installed. I would have the WhatsApp, and then we can send messages back and forth, just like a text message back, the old SMS text messaging. Remember way back what I discussed? This is all done now between these apps in the cloud. It has nothing to do with your cell phone provider or the old SMS texting or iMessages service that your cell phone companies run. This occurs in the cloud within these apps, and this is called text messaging. Now, why is this important? Why am I making a big deal about this? Well, there's good news and bad news. The good news is that, of course, it doesn't matter where you are in the world. It doesn't matter what phone you're using. These messaging services all work. Doesn't matter whether you're using an Apple device or an Android device. But it did back, remember, let's go back and look at this diagram. We have, of course, SMS text messaging, remember? And we have a separate service for iMessages. Two don't talk to each other. Rats! So that is a big problem. But within the messaging service, within the text messaging that is in this cloud, it doesn't matter. You can talk back and forth and go on and on about that. So why does that make a big difference? Well, this is the big factor here, and it has to do with two-factor authentication. In the process of getting that second factor sent to you, it's always sent through your cell phone line, the SMS or iMessages. You're going to be getting it through it back to your phone because your phone is actually the second factor. In other words, it is your second factor because you're logged in either through a password or your facial ID or thumbprint, whatever it is your second factor. So it's not going to be sent over text messaging. So all that stuff you're doing with text messaging has nothing to do with two-factor authentication. So in our current new security standards, which we're encouraging everybody to use, two-factor authentication will not work with text messaging. All right, that's now the second takeaway, which is very interesting, is your phone number. This is exactly why when you travel, and when you're traveling to different parts of the world and different countries, we used to always teach, just buy a local SIM card, pop a local SIM card in, and you'll be good to go, and you can use one of the local plans of the country. But of course, now remember this, with your text messaging, It's no problem because you're going to be able to text message back and forth because it's not related to a phone number. But your two-factor authentication is. So if you go and you switch out that SIM card and you put a different SIM card in there with a different phone number, you will not be able to get your text messaging coming back to your phone to give you that second factor to get into your bank account or whatever when you're traveling. So you need to know that and be very careful with that because it's a you don't want to be heading off to Australia. You go to the bank in Australia and you can't get your second factor and you can't get your money. So be careful with that. That's a really big issue. You must know the difference between SMS texting messaging and what text messaging is in the cloud. So those are two different things based on two different technologies, okay? And finally, they got their act together over the last 2 or 3 years. And last year in 2003, Apple announced that they would participate in RCS services, and that should be implemented by most carriers. Now, I want to talk a little bit about what RCS is. Now, if you look at this diagram, we're going to go over specifically the different technologies RCS uses. RCS uses a combination of your data plan and Wi-Fi. It's not going back over the old SMS system. It's a much bigger, it's more secure, and there's a number of new features with RCS that works. First of all, you can see typing indicators when someone's typing, and you know that they're actually sending you a message. You can read receipts, you can do file sharing, and you can even have group chats, all on RCS messaging. So what I wanted to talk to you about, remember my original question was, how do you get this? How do you install it? How does it work? And I'm going to show you that now. And I think the best way to go about that is I'm going to take my phone now and I'm going to do a little video about how you get it and what it is. So let me show you this now. All right, this is my Pixel 8 Pro. Let's come down to the messaging app. We'll come down here and click the messaging app. And now from the messaging app, we're going to go up to the top and click the icon with your picture on it. And we're going to come down to the messages settings. From there, you're going to see at the top, it says RCS chats, and that means it's installed on your phone. Let's click this and see where we go. And here you'll see my network is Rogers Network. It says I'm connected and I have RCS chats turned on. At the bottom, I have also turned on that if RCS is not available as a service, I can then switch it to, it will be sent as an SMS or MMS text. This is on the Android version. Now, I want you to remember that RCS is a carrier-based service, and you do not need to do anything to enable the service. This is, you don't put any software or anything like that on your phone. This is carrier-based and will be initiated. So if you have an Android or an iPhone, you need to make sure that the carrier service you're using does have RCS as a service. Now, on your iPhone, you must have iOS 18 or over, and you also have to make sure that your carrier has enabled RCS. So on your iPhone, you'll see this screen, and you'll see turn on RCS messaging. And here you'll see the appropriate buttons to turn on to make sure this service is active on your phone. It's Ron Brown with Tech for Senior. In summary, RCS is a carrier-based service, new coming out for iOS, and it will allow communication between Android and Apple devices. It's more secure, and you'll be seeing a lot more about this as we move forward. Hopefully this video has been helpful for you. We'd sure appreciate that like and subscribe. Until we see you again, have a great day. Okay, maybe we'll have some comments or questions about that in afterwards. Ray, just before you get going, I just want to thank all those people who are listening. This is on YouTube. Thank you so much for coming. Remember, if you are watching this Thursday, we don't have a show on our Thursday show. And if you want to come over and participate um, in the Q&A, you can come over here after you sign off from our YouTube stream. Okay, thanks. I'll end that now. Ray, go ahead.
Thank you, Ron, for that good presentation. I may have to watch it 3 or 4 more times to fully appreciate it. The legacy and music of the Golden Gate Quartet. They were founded in 1934 in Norfolk, Virginia. The Golden Gate Quartet began performing at local churches and community events. They were initially known as the Golden Gate Jubilee Singers. Their early repertoire included traditional spirituals and hymns with modern arrangements and vocal techniques emerging over time. By the late 1930s, they had signed with RCA Victor and achieved national recognition. The group expanded its repertoire to include gospel, jazz, blues, folk, and pop, becoming one of the first Black gospel groups to achieve mainstream success. During World War II, the Golden Gate Quartet performed for troops and became known as ambassadors of goodwill and faith. Post-war, they collaborated with artists like Leadbelly, Duke Ellington, and Woody Guthrie, broadening their appeal and solidifying their status as trailblazers in gospel music and beyond. Now, so here's some additional facts I put together that are associated with the Golden Gate Quartet. They sang at FDR's inauguration in 1941, becoming the first Black musical group to sing at Constitution Hall and later at the White House. They appeared in films such as Star Spangled Rhythm, Hollywood Canteen, and A Song is Born. They moved to Paris in 1959, and when Elvis, a huge admirer, was in the U.S. Army, he visited them backstage at one of their performances. And they were inducted into the Vocal Group Hall of Fame in 1998. Now, as you would expect, the group saw several lineup changes over the years, with new members bringing fresh perspectives and talents. Despite these changes, they remained committed to spreading the gospel through music, and amazingly are still performing today. So today's clip is from a performance in Paris in 1958, where the group is crowded around just one shared microphone. That was not uncommon 6 decades ago, but their choreography allows a flawless exchange between the lead singers and the rest of the group. That was toe tapping for you, Ron.
It was indeed. I was having a blast with that. That's going on my Ray's playlist, and I'm going to be listening. I got to put up the Christmas lights this Thursday, right? And so I'm going to be listening to that on Thursday.
So you're switching from music to garden by to music to put up Christmas lights.
Absolutely.
Very, very good. I like a multitask music.
Absolutely. Absolutely. All right. Excellent. Thanks, Ray. All right. This is where we move on to our Q&A section of our video. Bill, I did make my apology. I hope you listened. I did apologize for not introducing you at the beginning. Did you get that? My apology. He's muted. Anyway, hopefully he
Yes.
you weren't on the same line. You came in later, so you were 3 lines down, and
Yeah, no problem.
We need those automatic chat bots, like, or what Bob called them or something, so we don't.
Well, I hadn't been here in 3 weeks, so I'm not surprised
I forgot about you. Memory senior, memory, that sort of thing. Anyway, I forgot about you. Anyways, my apologies.
No
All right.
problem.
All right, so I wanted to, before we get into the Q&A, just to remind everybody that we do indeed have our premium video coming up later on. I discussed that earlier, and no show this Thursday. Don't forget that. So no show this Thursday. Just to follow up now on, I know there'll be lots of questions about my RCS talk. The first thing I want to just to let everyone know is if you have an Android phone, you probably, RCS came out quite a while ago. It's only last year in 2000, 2023 that Apple wanted to participate in RCS. So you probably, if you go and you look at the app on your phone, your texting app, you'll see, as I showed you in the video, that you probably have RCS already installed. And there's nothing you need to do. There's no fee involved. It's a service that your phone company will automatically add. So you don't have to do anything. There's nothing you have to do. But you do, when you go into, at least on my Pixel phone, when you looked at the menu I had there, you can turn that on or off, and it'll probably be on by default. And you also have you also see your SMS texting as well that you can turn on. So that's that's it. Now, what the big difference was, of course, is the iPhone, and Apple agreed to play with RCS and be part of the system, and that is what came out on the new version of iOS 18. So if you have an Apple phone now, you should have, depending on your carrier, you should have RCS enabled. All right. And you can easily see that on your phone and see if it's enabled. If it's not enabled, then you check with your carrier, but there's nothing. The important thing for you to know is there's nothing you can do. It's a carrier-based change that occurs, and it's nothing to do with with what any software you have to put on your phone or anything like that. So, but it is great because now with RCS we will be able to send text back and forth. And remember, we're not talking about text messaging. That's a whole different category, which I tried to distinguish on the video. Now, we had a comment in the chat. What if you went to Australia? What would you recommend doing? Well, I think the easiest thing to do, there's a lot of ways to skin the cat, so to speak. Probably what I would do is I would keep, if I went to Australia now, I would probably just keep the SIM card I have in my phone and turn the data connection off when I was down in Australia, or turn to put it in airplane mode. And what I would do is use WhatsApp to make all my calls, because we talk to our kids all the time on WhatsApp. We use WhatsApp pretty much for all those calls, which is text messaging. But if I had to get in my bank and I needed that two-factor, I would just turn on my SIM card and get the text messaging. That's one way of doing it. The other way is that don't forget, a lot of your cell phones now have dual SIM cards. Now, interesting, you're going to say, hey, I have an iPhone and we don't have SIM cards anymore. Well, that's just in the United States. Apple's iPhones that are built in other parts of the world have dual SIM cards still in them. In fact, my kids just bought a new iPhone, and it's made not in the United States, but it's made elsewhere, and it has dual SIM cards where you can actually put them in. So there are other ways to get around that. And so there's different ways, but I would look at that. But please be careful, because if you go, it's happened lots of times where people go to different countries, they go to get money out of their bank, they need that two-factor, and they put a local SIM card in their phone. I guess you could swap them back out and change it over as long as you had your old SIM card. All right, Bob, do you have a question?
Not a question, just a statement. Basically, it's Apple who was late coming to the party.
Correct. That's right. That's right. And but you know what Tim Cook said a few years ago? He gave that famous talk. People asked him, why aren't you playing ball with everyone, with us, with this? And he said, look, I can solve the problem tomorrow. If everybody buys an iPhone, then we don't have a problem. That was his answer to that. That was that's. But anyways, they're now part of RCS, and I think this is a big plus, and I think that it will certainly help with communication between Android and iPhones. Go ahead, Jim. Jim Glass. Hello, Jim Glass.
You're muted, Jim.
Hear me now?
Yep, we got you.
I was just thinking, well, from the earlier conversation, that maybe you guys might want to look into doing a program on accessibility, because I'm losing my eyesight and hearing and what have you, and working with the computer is a real challenge. I mean, I have keyboards that are marked, tapes and things, to help me get around. And some of the accessibility features in the phones and the computers take some figuring out. In fact, some of the technicians screw it up so bad, it's really a problem. So just a suggestion that you might want to ask people what their solutions are and see, and present something like that.
It, yeah, and I mean that's a good question. We've talked about that a number of times before. Jim, the problem with that is there are excellent videos out there that do that. They're made out by Apple and Google, and there are just so many of those really well done videos on accessibility features that to go back and try and do something that there's so many videos already there is that's the only stumbling block. And it's not easy to do. These videos take a lot of time. So we'll certainly. I would encourage you, to do some searching on YouTube for the specifics you want, because there is some really, really good stuff out there that will help you.
I've noted it for my Senior Matter series.
Okay. Yep. Yep.
Okay.
Yep. Good one. George Bowden.
Okay. So the thing about traveling and SIM cards, the problem for two-factor authentication for some of our people who come from Canada and visit Mexico is that they don't realize that their phone service doesn't come for free in Mexico. And so they aren't even able to receive SMS messages as a second factor with their original SIM card. And I think, so now we're seeing in Canada, we're seeing plans that do include Mexico. And that's probably the solution, the only really viable solution. You can get a cheap plan like that.
Yeah. The other thing, George, that it doesn't work for all two-factor, but a lot of options are when you set up two-factor, you have the option of getting an SMS text or using the two-factor app on your phone. And if you choose the two-factor app on your phone, which generates the second factor, that it's just an app on your phone that generates the number. You don't need actually an SMS text to get that.
Yeah. The
But
problem
no,
is that in
yeah,
Canada, the banks are so lazy, they don't bother doing anything like that.
correct. Yeah, it depends on the service, and sometimes you're just stuck with that. So you're right. In my and I've done a lot of talks on travel and plans. I guess in the old days it was more difficult, but now, whether you're on Verizon or in Canada, Rogers, they all have a 2 or 3 week, very affordable international type package that you can actually purchase, and it's not bad. And so I always say it's worth looking at that rather than trying to get another SIM card and put it in and create, buy local and that sort of thing. If you're going for a 2 or 3 week vacation, if you're going to be there for 6 months, maybe, I don't know. But I know that in Canada that TELUS and some of the Rogers have plans now even for snowbirds that are going to be down there for 6 months. They have reasonable plans that are quite competitive as to buying another SIM card and using it with other carriers. So I guess it depends on where you are and how you're going to go about that. But it's something to think about for sure if you're going to travel, because if you go to Paris and you go up to an ATM and you got to get your second factor, you're not getting into your bank, because unless your phone company can send you a text, you can receive a text message in Paris, you're not getting that number, right? It's just not going
About
to happen.
Google's Wi-Fi service. It covers
Yep,
a lot
yep,
of
Google's
countries.
Wi-Fi, but remember that's only for US citizens, Bob.
Yep.
That's only for US citizens, not for any other people in the world. Hewie.
Yeah, I just want to mention that leading up to all of what you talked about goes back to for beginners that if they had an iPhone, they couldn't text somebody that had an Android phone.
Right.
But I think you could go the other way. I don't recall.
No.
But you
Yeah.
And this solves that problem,
Yes.
the
Yes.
RCS. And
Yes.
that's the big thing about it.
Correct.
And if you kind of lost us in the changing the SIM chip and that sort of thing, that's not the important thing. The thing is now that you can text each other through either an iPhone or an Android phone.
And Huey, it's less and less important because most people don't text through they text. What they do is they use WhatsApp. They do text messaging, which is through social media apps, and that's fine. That's great. And that's what it's free. You can WhatsApp. You can make video calls, phone call. You can do all the things you want for free on WhatsApp, and you can be between all the different phones. Doesn't matter. It's just you can't get an SMS text. You can't get that
Yeah.
second factor in WhatsApp, right? It's not going to happen. Um, so you have to. So that's the difference. And that's why I wanted to make that video. What I took a lot of time doing that graph was to clearly show the difference between text messaging and how that's different
Yeah.
than your second factor, which is really your cell phone getting the
And
information.
the other thing that a lot of people don't realize that just use the equipment and they don't really understand how it all works is there's like you mentioned, there's messaging within some of the programs, including Facebook.
Right.
Facebook has their own messenger.
Yeah.
And so I get messages from certain people. Sometimes I'll get them as a regular text message. Other times I get them as a Facebook
Right.
a message, and I don't think they really understand that
That's
they
correct.
are different.
That is correct. That's Huey. That's exactly why I made the video. I
Yeah,
don't have
no,
to.
I think it's
Now, if I
great.
get the
Yeah,
question again, I can just point people to the video, right? I don't have to.
absolutely. Yep.
That's why I made the video. I learned that from Chris Gould. She makes a video about it and she can reference back to the video. You don't have to be, you can just say, that's how you do it. I made a video about it. Exactly. Let's have a look. I don't think there's any. Someone said Pixel 9 had one SIM and one eSIM and one physical SIM. Yep. I'm not. Yeah, I don't. I don't have. I use Google Voice for second factor. Uh, Google Voice. Yeah, but Google Voice is that going to a? It's going to a phone number, so that would be. I guess that's okay. You have to be careful. I mean, one of the things about second factor is that it has to be that's why the SMS works on your phone because your phone is the second factor. The phone knows you because you've logged onto your phone by either a thumbprint, some sort of security that is how it knows that you are. Text messaging would never work because there's no way that you'd ever be able to confirm that it's actually you on that program.
Yeah, I also have a Google Voice number, and I can receive text messages, except I have to open up in my browser. I have to go to the account that would come through,
Yeah.
and and if somebody sends me a text with it, I generally don't sign in with that account, so I never know that they've texted me.
Oh, that's true. Yeah, but you'd have to, right? To get the second
Yeah,
factor on that, you'd have to sign in to be actually accurate that it was you that was
yeah.
logged in, right? Yeah, that makes
So I
sense.
try not to give that number out as a phone number
Yeah,
to avoid somebody trying to text me.
yeah. Very good. All right. Any other questions?
Just I just have to jump into this conversation. My Google Voice number is the only number I use because I have two phones with me at all times. My Google Voice number works on both of them. And so I get all my text messages through Google Voice. But I have a grandfathered in number. I've had it for so many years that it is considered a real number. If you get a Google Voice number today, there are lots of services that will not recognize that number for two-factor because
right.
they see it as a fake phone number,
Well,
not.
or see it as a text messaging number, which is not going to give you that second factor.
I don't understand what you're talking about there. Text messaging is the second factor. Text messaging through your phone line
Well,
is where Sec 2 factors come through, most of
correct.
them.
That's why I call it SMS texting.
Okay. Okay. Well, then I think you should change your texting term to messaging. That's what you're saying? You're saying messaging services cannot be used for two-factor. Texting can. Real
Texting can.
texting, SMS
Real text.
texting.
SMS texting
Be
can
nice.
and is the way you get it. Text messaging or messaging apps, no.
Messaging,
Yeah.
not text.
Not text
Messaging.
messaging, because WhatsApp
Messaging. Right.
can send textual messages, voice messages, and video messages. So, I mean, that's what's the beauty of WhatsApp. But both sides have to have WhatsApp. So I
Correct.
also, a lot of people that I know only think of text messaging as SMS text messaging going to a phone number. A lot of people, you
Right.
know, they don't know anything else. That's what they started
Right.
with 10 years ago. That's
And
all they
that and the other thing that's interesting, Chris, about WhatsApp is even though WhatsApp identifies you as the identifying part of WhatsApp is a phone number,
Right.
it's still a messaging service going back and forth through the app. It's just that it's not using a phone number, it's only using the phone number to identify
The
you.
identifier.
It's
right.
an
Still an
identifier. It's
app.
not they don't want your
It's
email address, they don't want
right.
your name, they only want your phone
They
number.
have to
Now
have something, and a phone number works best.
yeah, now that is all changing. We talked about that 2 weeks ago on our show on Thursday. That is all changing within WhatsApp, and they're going to allow email and other ways of identifying. That all is changing. So that whole phone number
But Ron,
issue,
it's still an app. It is
it
not
is correct.
SMS.
That's absolutely correct. That's
Right.
absolutely correct.
Web-based.
Yep, it's
Yeah,
all. Yeah.
I also have a Magic Jack number. I think you do too,
Yes.
Ron, correct? I
I
can't remember
have
if that
one.
allows messaging or not.
Yes, it does.
does it? Yeah, I haven't used mine for
But again,
for
you got to
ages.
open up the app, the Magic Jack app, in order to read them. Is that correct?
Yeah.
Yes.
But yeah. Yeah. All right. Well, I want to wish everybody a happy holiday. We'll see you back here in another week. I guess we'll be back next Monday. Hewie, you've got the reins next Monday. Are you up for it?
I hope so.
All right. Have a good holiday,
I'm-
everyone. Have a good holiday, everyone. And we
Bye.
will
Yep.
be
Happy
back. And,
Thanksgiving.
yep. Happy
Yep.
Thanksgiving.
Gobble, gobble.
Gobble, gobble. All right. Bye-bye now.